here to warn people. You keep telling me to shut up. This isn't a game.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
And she talked about the chemical emulsifier plastic that is in the Subway bread. And 2 days after she launched that on our show, and after you took action, we're a big part of this. I'm not even taking credit. I'm just saying we're able to have an effect. You deserve credit for taking action. Subway has now announced USA Today that they're to remove chemical from the bread. That's up on drudgereport.com. And we should have one of the great writers up here, maybe Gucciardi or Mikhail Thalen. They're more of our health news people. Thalen and Gucciardi run StoryLeak.com. And StoryLeak.com has been really on top of all this. So maybe one of those two guys, I know they're both listening. I guess Thalen from Washington State and Gucciardi from his office downtown. One of those two should do an article about how InfoWarriors took action. The people took action. And now Subway is to remove this out of their breads. And the reason the Food Babe is so smart is she targeted one company that's doing this of hundreds of fast food chains and different places. There are plastic emulsifier fluffers, basically, that are in the Chicken McNuggets, you name it. And now by getting them to do this, it'll be a domino effect, just like Cheerios going organic as well, non-GMO. This is a big deal. And there'll be cheating and other things involved. But the point is, we have the moral high ground. We're winning. We're voting with our dollars. We're voting with our time and energy, speaking up. And we have power. That's why the system is always trying to shut us up. That's why they'll go after sheriffs that don't enforce unconstitutional gun laws. In the case of Liberty County, Florida, where the law was actually ambiguous, the person's traveling from work or home, they're allowed to carry a concealed firearm in their vehicle. Well, why did you arrest this guy? Well, all the statutes written where maybe I could interpret it that, you know, he was violating it. No, you're going to let him go. We're getting rid of this police report. This is BS. No, they went and arrested that sheriff. But you know what? He then went to court. The jury said not guilty because you judge the facts as well as the law. And it's actions like that. Sheriff Richard Mack refusing to enforce the Brady law. And then they came after him. He took the Supreme Court and won. Look, all that evil men and tyrants need to flourish is that good men and women do nothing. Thomas Jefferson. And this is a big deal. I am so excited about this because it only took 2 days for this to happen. Now, look, they're going to add some other emulsifier, guaranteed, that's a similar molecule, and then we'll have to make a big deal out of that. That's part of the fight, is you've got to do this over and over and over again. And things like this are really a dream come true for me, to be able to be, I'm not bragging, it's just a fact to show how my taking action and you taking action helped. Rand Paul was not going to run for Senate when he started that exploratory committee a year before he ran. And our show, when he came on and said, well, donate to the exploratory committee, and they raised off this show about $500,000 in a 2-day period, off one plug. And I talked to Rand off air. And also on air later, and he thanked the listeners. And he said, no, that pushed us over the edge. I'm going to run for the Senate. This show was the straw that pushed him over the edge, was the straw that broke the camel's back. You are the reason Rand Paul is in the Senate. You. And you are the reason Subway is now a great part of it, removing this. From USA Today, Subway to remove chemical from bread. Subway, one of the world's biggest bread makers, is about to remove a chemical from its breads that raised the ire of an influential health activist and food blogger who launched her campaign here on the broadcast with us on Tuesday, the Food Babe. And continuing, Subway, one of the world's biggest bread bakers, is about to remove a chemical from its breads. The world's biggest sandwich chain says it's in the process of removing the chemical known as, hard to pronounce, azodia carbamide from its sandwich breads, a chemical that Vani Hari, who runs the site foodbabe.com, says is commonly used to increase elasticity in everything from yoga mats to shoe rubber to synthetic leather. It's used for the same reason in bread, she says, as a dough conditioner. Quote, we are already in the process of removing it as part of our bread improvement efforts, despite the fact that USDA and FDA approved the ingredient. The company said in a statement, the complete conversation and conversion to have this product out of the bread will be done soon. Let's just start with the facts here. This is banned in China, banned in Russia, banned in Japan, banned in England, banned in Germany, banned in Brazil. This is all part of these plastic emulsifiers. Just search silicone in chicken McNuggets. Remember the FDA 4 or 5 years ago when the whole melamine situation from China was big in the news, and they were executing executives in China who'd put melamine in the milk and baby formula because it can fool the protein testing that the government does, and it was causing organ failure, kidney failure? Well, the FDA responded by saying some melamine is safe. That guy, show it. It's USA Today as well. Type into the search engine. FDA says some melamine safe. Think about that. So our government says melamine's safe. Our government says these plastic products in the food are safe. This is insane. And the larger issue here is that we're the dumping ground for all this stuff. No one else is allowing this to go on. And we've absolutely got to take action and speak out. And we've done that now with her launching her campaign here on our broadcast. We retweeted it. Our listeners really helped. So I want to salute the listeners of our broadcast for taking action. There's the headline: FDA to allow trace levels of melamine in baby formula. And that's out of the Washington Post, and the Wall Street Journal also reporting on that. But if you actually go find the other AP headline at the time, I remember it, some melamine safe in baby formula. And that's how they pitch it. That's how they sell it. That's what they do. And now they say radiation is safe in higher levels. And DU is safe for the troops to use, even though until 1990 they said don't let them use it, it's deadly. It's a death sentence. And they always said don't give pregnant women vaccines. It's known to cause all sorts of deformities, miscarriages, problems, autoimmune disorders in children. Going back to the H1N1 5 years ago, they said, you know what? It's safe. In fact, women should take more vaccines when they're pregnant. FDA set safe levels for melamine in baby formula. CNN. There it is if you're a TV viewer. This is so frustrating, ladies and gentlemen. So it's not allowed anywhere in the world. This plastic emulsifier, this fluffer, makes the bread look more delicious and I guess fake. Why not actually eat plastic food? You ever gone into like a restaurant, a cafeteria, and they'll have whatever the day's special dishes are in plastic, in wax food? Why don't we just make all the food wax and just say it's safe? We can all eat it and die of kidney failure and die of diverticulitis. It'll be fun. So the good news here, ladies and gentlemen, is that we've taken action, and the Food Babe emailed us this morning saying she'd be happy to come on today. We've now emailed her back, so she may be popping in sometime during the 3-hour, now 2-hour, 46.5-minute transmission that we have lined up for you today. Now, that said, here's some of the other headlines up on Infowars.com. This is really an important one that Kurt Nimmo just did that just went live. Corporate media says Syrian terrorist threatened jihad in Britain and the U.S. And what's amazing about this is these are the very jihadists that have been funded by NATO. The group, which is Western-backed, takes to Facebook, states it has no intention to target Britain. This is unbelievable. And it's a great little blurb Kurt put together breaking it down, that this is the group that's been funded by the West. But we probably should just add that to the sub-headline that, you know, groups backed by NATO against Syria say they have no intention. But it's just simply mind-boggling that, again, they can say they need to take our rights away when they're actually funding and protecting these groups. It doesn't mean they completely run them. I want to explain that. It means they protect them. They fund them. They open doors for them. They let them attack us, bare minimum, and then take our rights away when it happens. It's kind of like the government helps grow the opium from 7% of world production in Afghanistan in 2001 to 93% now of world production, an 11, 12, 13-fold increase, depending on how you look at it, flooding the world with deadly heroin, killing people. And then, the actor Hoffman shoots it up, the ace of spades, out of Afghanistan. That's what the heroin was called, and he dies, and they go raid the people that sold it to him. And again, I don't like those heroin-dealing rats. The whole point is you can't arrest them a maximum law if their bosses go free. It's a abomination. It's a hypocritical joke. Now, there's one of Kurt's articles about it. Group backed by NATO against Syria takes to Facebook, states it has no intention of targeting Britain. Wow, he updated that instantly. What a team. What a team. Again, I'm not correcting the guys on air. I ask them to correct me in my ear when I make mistakes, which I do, because you're thinking on your feet. You don't have a teleprompter. And the same thing is I'm kind of the master editor. Why things don't work too well, I'm joking. And then I sit here and make little tweaks on the fly, as they say. But continuing here with the news, this is a huge article up on Infowars.com. Cop handcuffs firefighter for trying to protect crash victim. That was like the footage that came out last month in England of the car overturned in the water, and the cop won't help as 5 bystanders try to get the woman out who still died, who was upside down in the water begging for help, thrashing around, caught in the vehicle. And again, I've seen the footage. The firefighter's vehicle is not blocking the road, and he's going down to try to save the person who's pinned in the vehicle upside down in the gully. And the cop comes over and says, "Move your truck." And the firefighter says, "No." And so he arrests him. And then that reminded me of this viral video that came out in 2009. Troopers suspended for 5 days for scuffle with paramedic. I love how they call it a scuffle. You've got on a rural 2-lane road, the state police fly up behind an ambulance that has its lights on with a person who turned out having a heart attack on board. And so the guy pulls over, and the paramedic, first the driver gets out, and then the actual paramedic taking care of people. There's a better res of this, guys, if you look, but it doesn't matter. I think Paul's must have found a low-res one. The guy gets out and goes, "Look, this person's having a heart attack. What is your problem?" So they assault him, and then they call it a scuffle as they choke the guy. In fact, we're going to play that audio coming up later. The whole point is that they pull the ambulance over. It's one state police guy. Then more arrive minutes later as the driver says, "Look, just please let us get on the way. This person's having a heart attack." This is all on video. It's like 20 minutes of it total. And finally, more troopers arrive, and the paramedic in the back with the lady having the heart attack gets out and goes, "What in the world is going on here? You said you had to get somewhere so quick and we wouldn't pull over when there's no shoulder." They don't even let him say that. Bam, start choking him. Then they go, "Don't resist." And he's just standing there going, "I'm not. I don't think I can control myself." These are people who believe they're God and believe everything is about them. And I'm not saying the average cops are like this, but you're seeing this more and more where you'll have a news crew, 80 yards away videotaping some wreck, not blocking traffic, and the cop comes over and goes, "Leave." And they go, "No, we're news." And they go, "Leave." "Well, all right." Guy turns around, "No, I'm going to arrest you and the camera guy." It's craziness. I mean, let me tell you something. I've been in an ambulance before, hurt, and wanting to get to the hospital. And I mean, I would get really mad if I was in the back of an ambulance having a heart attack and they've got me on the side of the road for 15, 20 minutes because I mean, he runs up on the end of this ambulance and there's a gully in the side of the road. The ambulance can't pull over. The The cop car can go around them, doesn't, pulls them over, and then just keeps them there while somebody's having a heart attack in the back of the ambulance. This is crazy land. It's like the cop that in Oklahoma again, but he got fired. That was a good police chief. The 3-year-old was seen peeing in the bushes by the cop. And he comes and gives the kid a ticket and the mom a ticket and then starts arresting people for a 3-year-old peeing in the bushes. Alex Jones here with a very important announcement for truth seekers. We've carried a lot of amazing films and books over the years on the online video bookstore at Infowars.com. And out of all the titles we've carried, one stands out because it is just so chillingly convincing. And that's Dreams from My Real Father by Joel Gilbert, available at Infowars.com. This film exposes the fraud that Obama is like nothing I've seen. If you want to know who Obama's real daddy is, this is the film for you. Don't forget, your purchase supports our broadcast and our growing media network. You'll also find at InfoWarsShop.com None Dare Call It Conspiracy by Gary Allen, the book that woke me up. We're also carrying Behind the Green Mask, UN Agenda 21 by Rosa Corey. This book is coffin nails to the globalist takeover. The Greater Good, the most professional and up-to-date film I've ever seen exposing the scourge that is vaccines. These titles and a lot more are all available at InfoWarsShop.com.